Hello and welcome to the Unnamed Automotive Podcast. My name is Sami Haj Assad, and with me, as always, is my good friend Benjamin Hunting. Say hi to the people, Ben.
Greetings, human listeners.
Greetings to everyone. We hope this is not your first time listening, but if it is, thank you for trying something new. I will reiterate, Ben and I are a pair of automotive journalists, but more important than that, we're such good friends. Isn't that right, Ben?
Sami, I'm coming back from vacation, and on that vacation, I drove to your part of the country. Is that correct?
You drove towards me and went further than you've done in the past, yes.
Went further than I've gone in the past? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We almost came all the way to the city that I live in, but then I came towards where you were at, and we were in the same city for a very long period of time. Long period of time. We went
to a celebration of sorts, the Canadian National Exhibition. Shout out to the fried dough that I ate that wasn't very good, and the $55 hot dog that I saw somebody selling, which is absolutely insane, even if it is 2 feet long. No one should pay. I'm gonna make a controversial statement. I think $8 is the maximum price for a hot dog anyone should pay, and I think that hot dog should be spectacular.
I got ice cream. I got an ice cream waffle sandwich, and it really hit the spot.
We're talking about hot dogs, Sami.
Yeah, and then I got some sandwiches. Don't you remember my yummy sandwiches I tried to feed my child, and he threw them in my face?
Yeah, but I mean, the thought is what counts. What's your maximum price for a hot dog?
Hot dogs? I won't buy a hot dog.
You won't buy a hot dog? Would you eat a hot dog that was given to you
for free? Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Would you eat a hot dog that was given to you by a clown?
Yeah, of course.
Really? Like a strange
clowns are people. And they can be chefs. They can be hot dog chefs, can't
You're on the street. You're walking down the street. Things are going well in your life. Mm-hmm. A clown appears.
Yeah.
A clown offers you a hot dog.
What do you mean by offers? Does he say, I was having a hot dog, but I couldn't finish? I was going to eat this hot dog, but I'm so full, I can't finish it.
I don't know how much you know about clowning, but they're not supposed to speak once the nose is on. So the clown wordlessly offers you... No. It's a clown as well. I went to a clown school. You're laughing, but I was a teenager and I went to a theater camp, and part of that theater camp included a clown school, and we did like a week of clown stuff. No hand stuff, just clown stuff. Yeah. And it was an unusual time in my life. But what I'm telling you is this clown is wordlessly offering you a hot dog. Do you accept it?
No, because unfortunately I think clowns are full of misunderstandings. So they could be offering me the hot dog, but it could also look like he's asking me to hold on to it while he ties his shoelace,
or the hot dog could be filled with like water that's going to squirt you somehow.
Yeah,
or the hot dog are keys to a suspiciously small car.
Yeah, or the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Man. Ben, we've really lost all of our listeners in our intro today. Thank you for coming all the way over to my part of the world for your vacation. I had a really good time hanging out. We saw a lot of cool cars, including one that looked like a giant boot.
Yeah, it was the LL Bean. So LL Bean has a car that looks exactly like an outdoor boot. And for whatever reason, it was driving around Toronto. And we happened to cross paths with it. And moments before that, I had seen a Ford GT go by. Yeah. And I feel like that's the most unusual rare car sighting that you're going to have together.
The streets of Toronto is full of unpredictable car spots, that's for sure.
If anyone's seen anything stranger, like one after the other, feel free to let us know.
Ben, before we get started, why don't you let our listeners know where they can find all of your latest work?
Sure, you can find my work at Motor Trend, you can find it at Haggerty, you can find it at driving.ca, and you can find it at greencars.com.
I noticed that you said .ca for only and .com for two websites there. Are the other ones websites as well, or just...
I prefer to let that remain mysterious.
You can find my work at autotrader.ca and driving.ca.
I feel like if you say I find it at driving, like driving is a verb, right? So it could be, it feels like an incomplete sentence when I say that.
You can find my work at driving.ca. Yeah, I guess so. But you're just not going to go motortrend.com.
Well, I don't know where Motor Trend's putting it. It could be anywhere.
Okay.
Could be in the magazine. It could be the .com. It could be one of the many satellite sites that are associated with Motor Trend. It's a whole universe of possibilities.
As our listeners have clearly noticed, that we've come back to the show much more casual than before. We'll see how long this holds up, how many episodes we can keep up this kind of attitude. But Ben,
well look.
Yeah,
I drove to Toronto, and I drove to Toronto in an electric vehicle. And I don't know how many people who are listening will remember, but I did the same thing 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. I tried an electric
Everyone remembers. It was a turning point for this podcast. It went from, oh, they just talk about cars, and then they're like, oh, they talk about journeys.
So I took a Mach-E to Toronto 3 years ago, and I did that because I wanted to see what the infrastructure was like along the way. Because at the time I was living in Montreal, and between Montreal and Toronto is probably the most heavily trafficked corridor in Canada. And Quebec does a really good job with charging stations. And Ontario, I discovered, does not.
So bad.
A much more casual approach to anything related to charging.
Casual? It's almost antagonistic.
Yeah. So when I arrived in Toronto the first time with an electric car, if I wanted to do like DC fast charging, you pretty much had to go onto private property. And most of the time that meant paying for parking in a garage and then paying for charging as well. Mm-hmm. And it got to be pretty expensive because, you don't always know if the charger is available, right? So you're paying for the time you're in the garage, which could be charging or could be waiting for another car. Mm-hmm. And then you're paying the essentially, you're a prisoner of the rates of that charger because you're already in there. Like once you're in, you're in. So it wasn't a great situation. The biggest difference, in addition to the lack of fast chargers, the bigger difference between Montreal and Toronto was there's no L2 charging. In Montreal,
level 2 charging, like on the street, yeah.
Yeah, in Montreal, you can park at like a normal parking space downtown, and there's a charger there. And you for $1 an hour, you get like 11 kilowatts of charging, which is fine. I mean, if you're at a movie or you're shopping or you eat dinner, you can come back and you probably picked up like 30 miles.
Yeah. Now I will agree with Ben in that, especially like in the downtown core of Toronto, there is like zero charging like infrastructure, or it's really, as I said, antagonistic. You have to go pay for parking and then plug it in somewhere, and then you're paying on it. And that was 3 years ago. I still find that it's equally as bad now. Okay, but most of the charging that I would have experienced when I was living in Toronto, you'd have to go outside of the city to do, which also seems like counterintuitive, right? Like,
yeah, because I mean, driving anywhere in Toronto was a nightmare. Like everywhere I wanted to, I spent like 2 hours a day in a vehicle, traveling a surprisingly short distance.
Yeah, and we have an awful subway that makes it a little bit easier.
But I can't take the subway to the electric car charger. Like that's the thing. So if you have to leave the city in a car and then come back in that same car, you're eating up a lot of the gains that you were going to make. It reminds me of that time I had it was a
is this another cloud school thing?
No, it was a hydrogen powered car that I was driving for Toyota, and the only there's no refueling stations. There's one in Quebec, and it's the only one in North America east of the West Coast, like east of the Rockies, at least. And I obviously wasn't going to drive to Quebec City and charge because that's a 2.5 hour drive. It would use all of the fuel. It doesn't make any sense. They had an 18-wheeler parked on the south shore of Montreal that would provide you with, it was at their headquarters, Toyota's headquarters, and it would provide you with some hydrogen fuel, but because it was in a trailer, it couldn't give you enough pressure to fill the whole tank. They couldn't pressure it. Yeah, so you could get half a tank of fuel, which was like 125 kilometers of driving or some tiny amount like that. So you really couldn't go anywhere. Anyway. No. But this time, when I went to Toronto...
3 years after your initial EV road trip to Toronto, what has changed? What is going on? And what did you drive it in?
Well, the first thing that changed is EV technology has moved on past the Mach-E, which is, I think, one of the oldest designs still on the market. There haven't really been any meaningful refreshes. I think there's been some power boosts and whatnot, but it's roughly the same car it was when it came out. I want to say in 2019, but maybe a little bit later than that. In any case... This time I drove a BMW iX xDrive60, and I drove the 2026 model, which is important because it's the mid-cycle...
xDrive60, eDrive60, xEDrive? What is it called? They have so many weird badges now.
It's the iX, which is the model, and xDrive60, which is the trim level. And the reason I bring up 2026 is because it's the mid-cycle refresh for the car, which means a bigger battery, different energy management software, and a few other changes have been made to it. And it gives you pretty crazy range. 364 miles is where it tops out. That's for the small wheels. I had the 21-inch wheels. When I picked up the car, it told me I had 379 miles of driving, which is like 612 kilometers, way past, that's a pretty
364 that they said it can do.
Yeah, it's like 15 miles past the theoretical max for the small wheels.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the guessometer is not accurate.
Yeah.
But it's pretty
guessometer,
good.
Is that what we're going to call it now? The range estimator?
Yeah, the range estimator. I mean, you never know. First of all,
I agree, yeah.
It's dependent on a lot of things, including how the person who was driving before you drove, temperature,
climate control,
climate control, the terrain that you're driving over. I mean, hills take away power, but they also give you power on regen. Then there's the regen settings themselves, like how you have them set up, how aggressive they are. It's all going to play out. But I can tell you that I averaged 31.7 kilowatt hours per 100 miles of driving. That works out to 356 miles, Sammy.
Pretty good,
on a full bet. That is pretty good. That is very close to the max. That is very close to 600 kilometers of driving on a full charge. And I was impressed with that. I'm not going to do a really linear review or talk linearly about the travel because that's kind of boring. But I will tell you that I started off going to Toronto on 100%, but when you come home, it's not the same thing, right? When you're using a public charger, you don't charge an electric vehicle to 100% charge.
Yeah.
You charge it to 80 because the charging curve, the speed falls way off after 80, and you don't want to be that person who's sitting at the charger, hogging it and ruining it for everybody. It'll take you forever. So on the way home, I didn't have access to 600 kilometers or 356 miles of range. I left Toronto with 80%. I made it to Kingston, which was my halfway point, and I had about 22% left of the battery. So I'd used like 50 something percent, which is not bad. It's like 250 miles or something like that, which is a decent distance.
All right.
Maybe not 250. Anyway, I charged in Kingston and it showed me that I had 480 kilometers to get home, which is, I think, roughly 350 miles. That seems a little high, maybe 320 miles. Now, I was like, okay, it's 400 kilometers to my house. So that'll do it. And I'll have enough of a cushion. And it was hot, but not super hot. As soon as I left the charging station, that guess just kept dropping, drop. And I'm like
more than you expecting.
More than is linear. It was like, I would drive a little bit and it would drop like 20 kilometers. And I'm like, ooh, that's not great. So I wanted to see if I could get home on that single charge, that single top up at 80%. I knew the locations of a few fast chargers along the way, including one that was like 8 or 9 miles from my house in case I really misjudged things. I could pop in there, I could charge it, and we would still get home. But by the time I got to an hour away from the house, I had put it in efficiency mode. And then when I was about 20 minutes from the house, I turned off all the HVAC.
Oh no.
I rolled into my house with 5% battery showing and 30 kilometers of range, which is like 15 miles. That's the lowest I've ever had an EV.
Did it didn't do like a turtle mode or anything like that?
Once no, it, 5%? It warned me when I hit 60 kilometers left. And then it warned me again when I hit 40. It just flashed it. But I think because perhaps I was already in efficiency mode, it didn't need to do anything. And I will say this, the last time I had an EV very low was the Fiat 500e, which...
Yeah, it was always... The moment you take it anywhere, it's like, you've only got 100 kilometers left.
I got home with 11% on that car, and a few miles from my house, it started flashing all this stuff on the gauge cluster saying, like, this system shutting down, and this system unavailable. No. Yeah. And I was like, what's going on? And it was, like, so angry with me.
How could you let this happen?
How dare you?
I'm turning off AC. I'm making all these sacrifices for you to get home.
The BMW did none of that. The BMW was just like, hey, bro, things might not work out, but I'm here with you.
I love your BMW voice. That's very much what the BMW sounds like.
Yeah. Hey, bro line. I don't know what it would say, really.
Hey, bro, I'm here with you. This might not work out.
So I was impressed with that.
I've heard that before.
I mean, it's a big, heavy SUV. It has a big, heavy battery. And even with 5%, it was willing to go the distance and get me home. So that was pretty cool. Not so cool how the charging infrastructure is in Toronto. The L2 still sucks. It's awful. It's nowhere. But the level 3 fast charging was better. And I think that it's primarily due to the efforts of gas stations that are now offering fast charging that didn't necessarily have it before.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, the Petro-Canada has their electric highway set up, which was available within 15 minutes driving from where I was staying. So that's not not super inconvenient. And then Shell also has their recharge stations attached to their regular gas stations. And the Shell station actually gave me the fastest charging of all. I hit like 160 kilowatts on a theoretical max of 190. Previously, Electrify Canada and the Petro-Canada, this charger I went to was, surprise, surprise, kind of broken. I was getting 98 kilowatts, and someone who was on the one functional charger, the card reader was broken on the second one. And someone who was there in an Ioniq 5 said that he usually charges there and gets much faster. So he's like, something's wrong with it. They need to do maintenance. And when I was at Electrify Canada, I peaked around 140 kilowatts, more around the 130. But that's pretty fast.
Not super fast.
But, on a maximum of 190, that's still pretty decent. And I had one instance where I had the vehicle plugged in. I walked away and I came back and discovered I was being charged for idle time. And I'm like, what's going on? And I looked and it had disconnected after 20% of charging, 11 minutes, just for no reason, just disconnected. No warning inside the car, no warning from the station. And I'd been idling for 10 minutes past that. So it was frustrating because it was on the way home. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you just kind of want to go home, right? You want to be, you figure that you can plug in, come back, and it's done. But it added another 20 minutes to our stop to have that done. These are just the kind of things that when you're taking an EV road trip, you're going to run into because the infrastructure is not consistent. But I will say I never spent more than 28 minutes on a plug. And that's pretty impressive.
Good. Yeah.
That is, I think, much better than the first time when I went with the Mach-E, because when I went with the Mach-E, I tried to use the DC chargers that are available at these things called like en routes, which are like, you see them all over the US as well. It's like it's a service station directly off the highway where you don't have to go into a town.
Right.
And there's usually like food and gas and stuff. And in Canada, we have DC chargers there. And I tried to use the Ivy branded chargers and they just didn't work. Like they would not connect, even though I was on the phone with Ivy tech support trying to get it to work. This time I figured not only is there a chance that these are, technologically crappy, but they're probably going to be really busy. Mm-hmm. And I shouldn't bother wasting my time there. So I always took the time to go to an off-road location. I drove maybe 5 to 10 minutes away from the highway. One of the things that surprised me was there was a Petro-Canada station with 4 chargers off the highway in Kingston that I had considered using. But when I got there, all 4 charging stations were full and there were 2 people waiting. 5 minutes down the road was a completely empty Electrify Canada.
Canada, which is known for being the fastest ones.
Yeah, I used the same plug I had used on the way in. And it's surprisingly, this is the plug that also disconnected me, even though it had worked perfectly 4 days beforehand.
Interesting.
In any case, I bring this up because you really need to use the apps when you're charging, when you're looking for a charger. How many of those people who were sitting there could have opened up an app and seen that literally 5 minutes down the road, there was available charging. They didn't have to be waiting, and it's not like we're talking price differential. These people aren't shopping for a better cost. Like I paid probably $22 or something for my charging Canadian, which is very reasonable. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that was my charging experience. My experience with the vehicle was pretty impressive. I mean, I've already talked about how the range was impressive. It has pretty insane power. It's a mid-tier trim. There's an M70 now, and there's an xDrive45. This vehicle has.
Did they change any specs with all of those, or is it just like?
I haven't verified that. They said that when they redid, because last year there was an xDrive50, an M60, and an entry-level model. And they said that when they reshuffled the trims, it was to better reflect their performance, whatever that means.
Yeah.
This car, why can't I find the horsepower? I want to say it's 516 horsepower, but I want to double check that. I know the battery is 113.4 kilowatt hours, which is new for this year. But why can I not find? I have it in my whole little review here. Sorry, 536 horsepower. I don't have a combined torque rating for the vehicle. BMW is very cagey about providing that for some reason, but it does 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds.
That's very fast. For how big this thing is, it's huge.
It's super big. And it's super big in the sense that I was able to stuff a lot of stuff in the cargo area without having to worry about the cargo cover and without putting the seat down, including a giant cooler, bags for a full week for 2 people, and a big box of books because I bought a ton of books because I'm a book maniac and I can't stop doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was surprised by how practical the vehicle was. It was extremely comfortable. My biggest complaint was I was not able to wear my polarized prescription sunglasses without the attention monitor freaking out. I'm looking straight ahead and it's like, you're not looking at the road. You're not looking at the road. And I'm definitely looking at the road. That was irritating. So I just put on another set of glasses and made my peace with it. But otherwise, the highway assist system that comes with the BMW, which does automatic lane changes and whatnot, if you look in the mirrors and stuff, it works pretty well. Cool. Car's comfortable. It's not the most attractive vehicle. Like I don't think it's ugly.
I don't think it's ugly, but I mean, look, the i4 looks like the i4 and i5 just look like regular like BMW 4 and 5 series. For their EVs, which is I guess the iX. Is there another electric BMW that I'm missing?
No.
It doesn't look that bad. It looks
it's fine. It's totally fine.
It looks a little bit like something between the X5 and the X7.
With the hatch open, it's super strange because the hatch, it's a very sharp angle, and it looks like, I don't know if you remember the Lincoln MKT.
Yes, I remember, of course.
It really looks like that. It looks like, and it's so surprising.
And the MKT is not known for being an attractive vehicle in any way or form.
That's just with the hatch open. I mean, obviously, it's not. But I had some people tell me they didn't like how it looked, which surprised me because I don't have a strong feeling either way. I think it's totally fine. Okay. The interior is pretty futuristic looking. Like I really
like the interior.
Yeah, it's not like BMW just took an X5 and made it electric and put the interior from an X5 in the iX. It is its own thing. And I think that's cool. I think it's nice that they gave it its own personality. On the whole, it's for the price, I want to say it starts around $80,000. Yeah, $89,000 is is the starting price for the xDrive60, and I think you're around $80 for the 45 that's before that. My vehicle was $98,000 US. Canadian, I don't remember the exact price. I can pull it up now. But that really checks out with, like, remember a couple of weeks ago I was talking about the Vistic?
Yes.
Which has 3 rows. This vehicle doesn't. The XC90 is in that price point. The Rivian is in that price point. I'm sorry?
EX90.
Yeah, EX90. Yep. Sorry. So I feel like it's well priced just in terms of, the Canadian one is over $100,000, the one that I drove, but not a lot over $100,000. I think that in a world where there's not many electric SUVs, it doesn't feel like a huge outlier. I mean, many luxury electric SUVs.
Sorry, say that again.
Not many luxury electric SUVs.
And it doesn't feel like an outlier?
No, price-wise. I think it fits in there well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not including stuff like the G-Class. I'm not including stuff like the EQS.
Right.
Those are like, they've pushed past into trying to do their own thing and separate themselves from the rest of the pack in terms of price. Mercedes is, I mean, maybe an EQE is like similar, but I feel like the EQE is smaller than the iX, and I'm not sure it's a direct competitor.
No, I mean, I think the pricing is right in line with the rest of the class. It is not exactly like a flagship EV, I suppose.
I mean, I guess it is by default, but they don't treat it that way, you know?
Right. They don't treat it that way. I mean, it's only that way because there is nothing, more fancier or bigger or specialer.
Yeah, until we get like an iX7 or an that kind of thing.
I mean, I've only driven the M60 version of it when it first launched. Now it's funny to hear that this has been replaced by something called the M70. And I was really impressed with it. I found that it had really impressive power delivery. I really enjoyed the interior of it. And I thought it was really a classy EV that demonstrated all of BMW's best sides. Basically, it was enjoyable to drive. It was powerful, and it was fairly high tech. I mean, as you mentioned, it has relatively high recharge speeds. It has tons of performance. It has face watching and lane changing.
You love the face watching.
whatever you want to call it.
You love that
facial
robot.
detection.
You love that robot paying attention to your every move, checking to see.
I need somebody to pay attention. That's
maybe
important.
Sammy's a little bit sad today, and that robot's going to know because it has literally millions of photos of your face that it can compare to in its giant facial database.
The other thing, though, is that BMW, ever since like their i program with the i3, has made a really big show of incorporating like lightweight materials and carbon fiber in particular. And I remember the iX having like exposed carbon fiber within like the door sills or something like that.
Yeah, so I looked into that because every time I open the door, you see something that looks like exposed carbon fiber. And we know that, like, as you mentioned, this has been a BMW trend in the past where carbon fiber has been a big part of their devoted electric platforms.
Yeah, like the i3 and i8 both use a lot of carbon fiber reinforced plastic, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going with this. They call it carbon fiber reinforced plastic. Side frame and rear of the vehicle. Which is to say it's not pure carbon fiber. It's just like enough. It's draped over an aluminum space frame. They call it carbon core technology. If you'll remember, carbon core technology is something that we've seen on non-EVs, I believe, from BMW as well. Am I mistaken in thinking the 7 Series has carbon core technology?
No, I don't think you're mistaken at all. I think for sure it has.
So it's
why do you bring that up?
Because that's what this is.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, but what's weird is if you look at carbon core, which they call it a carbon cage for the iX. So the aluminum space frame, and then I'm just reading this here about how they're applying it. It's obviously it's for lightweighting with strength. BMW was weird about I'm reading an interview where they were talking about it and they were like not really willing to go into details about how the carbon fiber is used. But if you look back on the 7, the carbon core was a big deal at the time. And then you look at vehicles that have come out recently, like we've talked a lot about the 5 Series and specifically the M5 about how heavy it is now because it's a plug-in hybrid, but they don't talk about carbon core.
Do those cars have it?
No. I mean, if they don't talk about it. They're not talking about it. Some people say it's because they don't think that customers care about weight savings.
That doesn't make sense because their original EVs, like I said, the i3 and i8, especially the i8. Like the i8, it has a ton of carbon fiber, so much so that like any body repair on an i8 is like unsustainable, right?
Yeah, it's the Dodge Viper of like plug-in hybrids.
Yeah. But what does that mean?
So the original Dodge Viper had a clamshell hood. Remember? The whole hood lifted up.
Yep.
So that hood in the 90s cost $20,090 to replace. And so if you were like parking and you cracked the front splitter, that's all one piece.
Oh, no.
Insurance companies were losing their minds.
Yeah.
They were like, we can't, like, if there's any kind of fender bender, this is an insane amount of money. So the first and second gen Viper have that clamshell. Then we get to the third gen, clamshell is gone. The Viper that we saw in Tokyo Drift at the beginning of the movie, you'll notice it's got a regular hood. And that was a big part of that was pressure from insurance companies telling Dodge, like, look, we're going to raise premiums to an unsustainable level for your owners if you don't fix this. But there was such an uproar among Viper owners at the time that it kind of it divided them into these two camps, like the
pro clam and anti clam.
Yeah, so like the pro clam people, they were like, this third gen Viper is not a real Viper because it doesn't have the clamshell.
That's so funny. Oh no.
Yeah, and also the other thing about the third gen Viper was they made an actual convertible.
Yeah.
Instead of having like the removable target top.
Yes.
So that was another sticking point. Third gen Viper, kind of controversial, I think. And also I think of all the Vipers, the one that has held its value the least because it does not have the cachet among Viper fans.
I gotta double check my third gens here.
But
the third gen is considered the SRT Viper, yes?
Yeah, that's where the name started.
I got you. Okay.
So all this to say,
wait. I want to go back to this i8 thing.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. All this to say, I think that they might be right in that customers don't care about weight savings. At least BMW customers who are buying these giant sports sedans. The companies probably care about weight savings in as much as it gets them into a certain fuel mileage range.
Okay.
Right? Like they have to care about that because they have regulations that they have to meet. But beyond that, if they meet that, they're probably not going to make it a focal point of advertising.
Okay.
I would say.
I was just going to say that, look, my favorite, like, one of my favorite cars that I've ever driven was the i8, and I have no clue why other than it's like weird. It's like super strange.
I love the i8. I would love to own one, and I was looking into it because I'm like,
yeah.
I was looking into it because I was like, these must be affordable because I don't see many of them, and they're not. And really,
like I said, this like insurance thing is so like problematic that,
and they're not really supercars like performance wise, right? But then I discovered that the battery system is something you do not want to have anything to do with as a secondhand owner. Okay. Once you're out of warranty, you need to stay away from these cars. It's the same as the i3. They rely on the HVAC system of the vehicle to cool the battery. There are some legitimate design issues with that. And they're design issues that can lead to you essentially bricking the car.
I love that. I'm in love with this car even more.
It is super risky to own.
It's my favorite. It is not fast. It's fast enough, but it's not super fast.
It looks amazing. It's like
it looks brilliant. Inside and out, it's like super cool. It's got this weird sounding turbo inline 3.
It's like the it's like the Lexus LC of like plug-in hybrids.
Yeah, I'm totally into it. But and like now it's 10 years old. You can get one for like half the price.
It's got 3 Commodores.
Yeah. So I'm always like, do I dare look at one of these? But I don't know.
One more thing.
Anyway,
about Carbon Core, Sammy.
Yes, Carbon Core. Let's get back to it.
Apparently, the high-end 7 Series, it was like, even though it had this Carbon Core technology, it was like just a little bit lighter than the S-Class, which had no Carbon Core technology.
Uh-oh.
And that really reminds me of, remember when Ford made a big deal about going to aluminum for the F-150?
Oh, yes.
They were like, oh, it's going to be a huge weight reduction. And it was. But the thing is, the F-150 was so heavy compared to all of its competitors that when they went to aluminum, it just kind of became the same weight as like a Silverado. So they really dialed back how much they were focusing on the aluminum. Like it was good if you only bought Fords, but if you had done any kind of competitive analysis, you would have already known that the F-Series was like way overweight.
That's fair. But at the same time, they have a ton of equipment now in all of these pickup trucks, so I guess a little bit of weight savings here and there goes a long way. And I suppose that they went aluminum around the same time they also started introducing EcoBoost.
Well, so EcoBoost was like much earlier, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
I think EcoBoost was like 2009 or something.
I was thinking that there was like compounding fuel efficiency savings here and there, but I guess at the same time, like EcoBoost would add extra weight too because of
turbos and cooling and all of that stuff.
Especially cooling. So they're just trying to figure out a way to make all of that.
I remember, folks, 1 gallon of liquid weighs about 8 pounds. So when you start putting extra coolant in a car, it can add up really quickly.
Interesting.
Not just the coolant and not just. Sorry.
I didn't know this mathematics.
Well, you're not a drag racer like I was when I was young. So you would go to...
Hold on. Let's talk about your young days.
No. We're going to skip past that.
Before or after your clown school?
I'm going to skip past that, but I'm just saying you'd show up at the gas. You would show up at the drag strip with as little gas as possible because you knew about that weight issue. But the other thing is when I talk about cooling, it's not just coolant in like, a larger reservoir for the cooling system, but it's also like bigger fans and an intercooler and all that stuff. That is going to add weight as well.
Anything else you want to tell me about this BMW? Do you recommend this BMW, especially after driving the Vistic? I know that one is
they're not the same vehicle, but
I know, Ben. I know.
So my wife
they're similarly priced. They're similarly kind of performing.
My wife liked the Vistic more. I think the Vistic interior might come across as more traditionally luxurious, but I think that I definitely do recommend the iX. It's something that should be on your list. I mean, you've said the EX90 is a disaster.
Please don't. Please. EX90 looks so good, drives so well, cannot live with it. Yeah. Awful infotainment system.
The Rivian
made me want to jump out of the car anytime I needed to do anything with it.
The Rivian has also a software-based everything. I haven't driven one, but it's also very good off-road in a way that the BMW isn't, so that would be another difference. Mm-hmm. And the Vistic has 3 rows. So this vehicle's kind of out there. I would take it over an EQE, no question. I mean, the EQE SUV.
Mercedes EVs miss the mark, right? Like all of them miss the mark.
Boring to look at. And I think that was a huge problem that they didn't anticipate. They went all out on aerodynamics. They perform very well, but I'm not a fan of the interiors. I don't
significantly better than all of these other cars.
I didn't say that. I said they perform very well.
Like, they made all of these compromises for aerodynamics and design when everybody else just made the regular looking cars and were like, we did just as good as you. So,
and the interiors are also all piano black and screens, and that's something that I'm not into.
So yeah, that's what made this BMW to me stand out. And
I haven't driven the Audi equivalent. I am going to in a couple of weeks, so I will be curious to see how that shakes out.
That's Q8 e-tron?
No, I'm driving the Q6 e-tron.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think Q8 is probably bigger than the iX. I don't know if there's a third row option in the Q8. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to talk to me about this iX?
No more.
No, we're done. I'm currently driving a Volvo XC90 plug-in hybrid, but I'm tired of talking about EVs right now. We'll talk about it next week. What I am really excited to talk to you about is some of the news that happened while we were hanging out here on vacation. One, it was the Monterey Car Week, which is one of my favorite times of the year because all of these like wild automakers come and show up. It is one of the most concept car oriented auto shows, I think, of the auto show circuit these days. And then two, it also brings in all of these like, you know, like exclusive cars, luxury automakers and stuff like that, which is sometimes an opportunity for the automakers or the auto groups to showcase what's going on at the highest level or the highest level in terms of their design and performance ideas. So there are a lot of really interesting cars showed up, and I'm really eager to talk to you about them. And then in addition to that, because like so many of these automakers are kind of accessible to the journalists, there's a lot of news reports that come out from Pebble Beach. So I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. First of all, probably my favorite thing that I saw is this new Lexus concept that showed up. It was called the Sport concept.
That's very creative.
It's not very descriptive or creative.
LSC.
It basically looks like if you took the LFA supercar and the LC and mind melded them together, you got something going on here. Actually, maybe more like a Mercedes AMG GT.
Like, I think it kind of looks like something from like the GT, like Gran Turismo. Remember when they were releasing all those concept cars? Yeah. I think there's like heavy Vision vibes from this thing.
It looks so superb. And from what I understand, everyone is saying that this is going to translate into a production car known as the LFR or LCR. Which I'm very eager to hear about, and I'm sure we're going to hear more about that by the end of the year because they're talking too much about these Lexuses, and I'm really
the term is Lexi.
Lexi. There's nothing no one really talked about in particular to this car. I read a bunch of like reports about there was like mules of the LFR running around the world, and people were saying they were being benchmarked to the AMG GTR, not the new one, the older one, which I think had that really slick V8. And
wait, what isn't it a V10? What are we talking about here?
No, LFR and the AMG. I don't know if there's going to be a V10 in this LFR.
Okay, I wouldn't think so.
I think there's going to be a V6, a twin turbo V6 or something. But apparently it's been benchmarked to an AMG GT. And that sounds like a great car to me. I really like the driving dynamics of the AMG GT. I like the design of the AMG GT. I like the sound of the AMG GT. If Lexus can,
why don't you just marry an AMG GT? Oh wait, Sammy, you already made your choice and married a human being.
Yeah. I don't regret that. But if I had the choice again, I don't know. It's a coin. It's a coin.
Well, machine marriage is less controversial than it once was, and I wish you all the best in seeking out your true happiness.
Okay. In addition to Lexus news, Infiniti showed up to Pebble Beach Monterey Car Week. This is interesting mainly because Infiniti has not shown off a extremely new and interesting product in a really long time.
No, what they typically bring to Pebble Beach is a different QX80, right? Like it's
QX80, and they brought two.
Okay,
but this time around they brought something, a concept car known as the QX65 Monograph, which they said straight up is really related to a production car called the QX65, which will, I don't quite get it, somehow slot between the QX60 and the QX80. It basically is a QX60 without the third row of seats and a little bit of a sloping rear design.
No, I think you're being a little. It's more than a little of a sloping rear design. When I look at this, because we've already seen what happens when there's a super low effort version to make a 2-seater SUV with the Mazdas, where they went
CX-70 and
CX-70 and CX-90. I think in this case, they're trying to evoke the Bionic Cheetah, the friend of the show, Infiniti FX.
Friend of the show, yes. The original, like feeling like original luxury coupe crossover, right?
And I think they succeeded. At least to my eyes, there's more than a suggestion of that vehicle from the rear quarter view. And in the front, the large grille, the way it's angled also speaks to that. Now, obviously, performance-wise,
it's not going to be anywhere near that.
No, it's the QX60, which is a pretty middle-of-the-road luxury SUV. But I do
like a V6, a naturally aspirated V6 with
I appreciate that what they're trying to do. I also want to say I think it's time for car companies to stop using the terms autograph, biograph, monograph, autobiographical. This is just, it doesn't mean anything.
What am I talking about when I say monograph?
Exactly. It doesn't mean anything to anyone. No one really understands what you're saying. I just don't think these have resonance. Like, maybe if you were trying to sell the public an old fighting ship or something like that from like the 1700s. But you're not.
Monograph
You're not.
Is generally a long-form work on one, usually scholarly subject.
Oh, wow.
Or one aspect of a subject, typically created by a single author or artist.
When I'm driving a luxury car, I often link it to a long single subject piece of writing, which I ruminate on. Like Matthew McConaughey when he's driving a Lincoln.
Oh, yes. The main thing here, though, is, as you said, friend of the podcast, Bionic Cheetah, Infiniti FX, 35, 45, and 50 in the second generation. This car had legs, man. This car had tendrils that extended way past Infiniti. And now other automakers have been utilizing its coupe crossover way more effectively than Infiniti ever did.
Yeah,
Infiniti
I mean, it
ran away from that.
It wasn't the first, right? Like, the first was technically the X6, but I really feel like the FX from Infiniti had more influence.
Did the X6 come first?
Yes, the X6 was the first of the sport coupes. Well, I'm pretty sure it did.
I'm going to double check.
Because there was the FX, there was the X6, and then there was the ZDX, which came out a year later. I don't remember exactly when the FX came out.
You're way off. First generation FX came out 2002.
Okay, then I want to amend what I'm saying. No, hear me out. Because the X6 was an X5 that had a sloped roof. It wasn't its own design. No. So I feel like you're even more right in the sense that like the FX,
RDX was a good idea though. Let me take a look at when.
Not RDX, ZDX. It came out a year after the X6. Exactly 1 year.
Oh yeah, 2009. Okay.
So the FX has been echoing through time, and I really do feel like it was more the X6 was more successful for sales, but I just think the legacy of the Infiniti is more important.
But now let's think about what Infiniti is showing now that channels this Infiniti FX.
I don't even mean like
Infiniti's. The design is there. But you're right. The performance is going to be way off. The chassis is all wrong.
But I'm talking about the influence over the whole industry, not over Infiniti. Infiniti has been lost without a paddle for at least a decade.
Yes. One more luxury automaker that showed up and had something to say was Acura. Acura again showed us a concept car, which will probably showcase a real product. It's called the Acura RSX. Do you remember that name? Do you remember the Acura RSX nameplate?
Entirely uninterested in engaging with this vehicle.
The original or the old? The original.
I feel like this is manufactured nostalgia at a level well past what they did with Integra
and ZDX.
This is just like what if they brought back the Vigor? You know, like no one remembers the Vigor. Maybe people remember the Legend, but these are still cars that I don't think people have a ton of resonance with. The RSX came and went. You know, like
in one generation too, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah. So like it's not real heritage, you know.
So let's forget the original RSX, just like Acura actually did, and talk about this new EV, which will be using Acura or Honda's own platform and technology, as far as I understand. And you're going to love this. Remember Asimo? The robot?
I love, you know what? Asimo, RIP, in retirement.
He's back.
The thing about
OS,
Asimo,
in operating system form.
The thing about Asimo that I didn't like was it was always trying to shake people's hands. There's all these photos of it shaking. You can't meet Asimo. It's not real. It's not a person. You can't meet it. You can't. Okay, all right, I'm done.
Okay, well, he's coming back, or it's coming back in the form of its of this RSX, I guess infotainment system or AI or something like that.
I'm uncomfortable with this. I can tell you though that the debut of the RSX EV means you're going to get some really good deals on ZDXs.
Good point, and that's not a bad thing actually.
They're going to clear out that inventory, yeah. And the Prologue is already like being cleared out, so you know that there's a wave of change coming at your Honda Acura dealer. Now, and like Sami said, get in on that because the Prologue is like a good GM SUV EV with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Yeah. One more thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of the luxury automakers. Again, because all of these luxury automakers are bringing in media to take a look at all their cars, and they also want to be in the same breath as some of these supercar makers and stuff like that. There's a lot of like news that gets shared, lots of rumors, a lot of talking basically. And one of the things that showed up that caught my attention, there's two news reports here. One is from Automotive News. They said that they got the inside scoop that BMW is developing an off-road SUV to rival the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. Isn't that something we've always really wanted?
The weird thing is it's going to be based on the X5.
That's okay.
Why not just make a hardcore X5? I think that would make a little more sense.
They made a new version of the X5. This is something that
No, they added an options package that gives you a locking differential and some other like some skid plates and all-terrain tires, and that's fine. I think that's actually a good direction for them to go in, because once upon a time, and I say once upon a time, it was like 25 years ago, when the X5 and the M Class and the Cayenne first arrived, they had to go off-road. For some reason,
they were actually off-roading.
Yeah, car companies thought that, well, SUVs go off-road, and if ours don't, people will make fun of us for being posers. No one cares about that anymore. But like back then, you had like legitimate low-range four-wheel drive on all of those vehicles and some decent off-road chops. Today, I guess, making their own vehicle that will look kind of like a G-Class is an interesting way to go, except the reason the G-Class sells, I think, is because of its heritage. It's been able to weaponize heritage really well. BMW won't be able to do that, so I'm curious to see what their game plan will be in terms of marketing it.
Well, like all of these off-road oriented EVs weaponize that heritage, just as you said, really well. I mean, look at Jeep, look at Bronco.
You mean SUVs, not EVs.
Sorry, SUVs. Really nail those things, right? Land Rover as well, Range Rover and Land Rover.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking specifically about like the old school designs.
No, I'm saying I agree with you entirely. And what will BMW be more successful because they're not shackled to a history? Will they be able to make something more interesting, or they just will whiff on this like they did the XM that's currently?
So here's what's interesting:
apparently is going to replace this thing.
Because I know the next thing you're going to talk about is another example of heritage that's not really heritage, and that's Nissan talking about bringing back the Xterra.
Yeah, this is good. This is a report again from, I think this is from, who is this from? Where is this from?
Automotive. Let's just say Automotive News. You saw it in Car and Driver.
I sent it to you from Car.
It is Automotive News. It's always Automotive News. I have it right here. Anyway,
which I love Automotive News. Me and you have both written for. They are really thorough in their reports, and rumors that come from Automotive News.
So what's
generally have some legs.
What's super weird about this is that it's not just that Nissan wants to bring back the Xterra, something that they've been talking about for probably 5 or 6 years now, but it's that they're making a brand new body-on-frame platform that's going to be used for the Frontier, the Pathfinder, the QX60, and the Xterra. Okay.
What?
I wasn't aware that any of those vehicles sold at a volume that warranted a brand new platform.
Especially a body on frame platform.
That's what I'm saying, because it's so limited as to what they can do with it. I mean, maybe this is tied to global frontier protection, in which case, I can't remember. It's called the Navara elsewhere. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? I think that sells reasonably well in the global market. So, okay, if that's what you're doing with it, but why move the Pathfinder? Okay, as a Pathfinder owner,
the Pathfinder, now you can talk about
the Pathfinder has gone from...
You've had this car for like a week and a half. Come on.
2 months. The Pathfinder has gone from being like a body on frame vehicle to a half body on frame, half unibody, to a full body on frame vehicle, back to a unibody. And now it's going back to body on frame. Like, that's so weird. Just think about...
So what you're saying though, when you talk about it that way, then this is totally on brand for
You're
this
saying
car.
The pendulum swings and they have to... But what's strange is like...
There's been somebody working at Nissan sweating it, being like, my God, I have to deliver a successful new body on frame SUV that'll appeal to every market.
The only similar model out there I can think of is the Explorer, which I think had a sort of similar journey. Mm-hmm. Not as many swings, but it did do like the brief body on frame thing for a while the brief unibody thing before going back to being a truck, right? Yeah. And it's a truck now, right? Isn't it? It's on
the new Explorer?
Yeah.
It's on a rear-wheel drive platform. I don't know if that means that it's body on frame or not. I don't think it is.
Who are the customers who are buying the body on frame Pathfinder?
Or the new Xterra, right? Like,
well, no, because if you look at the Nissan showroom, they have the Armada. The Armada is based on the...
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, the Armada is based on a body on frame platform that it shares with the Infiniti QX80. Mm-hmm. The Pathfinder is their equivalent of the Explorer, kind of, and or the Traverse or something like that, a family-friendly vehicle. I know Ford they have the Timberline, but you don't really expect to go off-road in either of these vehicles, like hardcore.
Absolutely not.
There's no need for the body on frame unless you're really pushing hard for towing, which I don't think they need to do with the Armada.
And at that point, you can just get an Armada.
Exactly. Although maybe the Armada has just become so expensive, no one's buying it.
I think that's possible.
They're going to stealth
because where are they building them? Maybe they're trying to build them closer to...
Well, maybe they're stealth replacing the Armada. Maybe we're going to see the Armada's gone. The Pathfinder becomes the new Armada, except they widen the range. So it's like you could still get an affordable Pathfinder.
Oh my God, you cracked it.
And then the Xterra slides in to do what the Pathfinder used to do, except asterisk it doesn't, because it's also body on frame. Like,
and will also sport a way better powertrain, apparently.
Yeah.
Not only will it ride on a body on frame, but will have a V6 hybrid, which, you know, the Pathfinder, look, it has a V6 right now, makes about 300 horsepower, is good enough. But
it's no supercharged Xterra, I can tell you that.
No, right?
Back in the days where it was like, 220 horsepower and it was supercharged or something? Yeah.
260, I think.
It was a different time.
I mean, look, let's be clear here. The off-road, like, SUV, like, landscape, I don't know what you want to call it, it's, like, changing every year. It feels like, I'm not off-roading, Ben. I don't really off-road. I know you have a little plot of land, but I don't think
I live out in the country and I don't really off-road either. I've actually been but I've been looking for a place to off-road, and honestly, it was easier to find a place near Montreal than it is out here. And I think that's because off-roading tends to make a mess of whatever land it's on. Mm-hmm. So you have to have a landowner who's totally cool with it, or you have to have a utility like Hydro-Quebec that is okay with you using their access roads, which might as well be off-roading because they're roads in name only, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. I have too many expensive hobbies. Like road course racing is expensive in terms of stuff that breaks and whatnot. And off-roading is just like basically daring your truck to break. Like that's all you're doing, you know? So I'm not...
It's a feat of strength. That's what it is.
It's like fun, but it's not something that I really think about or that I aspire to.
But like, listen to us. Two automotive journalists, two automotive enthusiasts. We're talking about that we don't really go off-road.
Yeah, and I own like a body on frame 2 solid axle Jeep. Yeah. And now I have this Pathfinder, which is also pretty decent off-road. But like, this is weird to say. There's also a culture around off-road driving that can be impenetrable. and it can feel like it's attached to other subcultures of cars that are not necessarily something I want to be associated with. And I'm saying
what the automakers are gunning for.
No, but I'm
with
saying
all
this,
of these off-roading.
I just want to finish my thought because I'm saying this not to offend people who are into off-roading, but there's a vocal minority in the off-road community who like have truck nuts and ridiculous like brodozers and
bullet antennas.
Yeah, and they kind of ruin it for people who are really there to have a good time and be welcoming to people who want to enjoy that part of off-roading.
Don't tread on me stickers and whatever.
There's a crossover between people who are aggressive because they own giant vehicles and lift kits and people who actually build vehicles to go off-roading. Yes. And that can be a turnoff.
So the question is that what all these automakers, because there's like you've got to be blunt with me here. The amount of off-road oriented vehicles and off-road cosplay packages for non-body on frame like off-roaders is staggering, right?
Yeah,
there's an insane amount of
but it's because they can charge you more for it. Anything a car company can charge you more for, they're going to get on board. And if they can give you some accessories and some stickers and call it an off-roading package, they're definitely going to do that. And that's fine. They're in business to make money. I get it.
But why is that marketing successful?
Because as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where we were saying, at Subaru, for example, Wilderness has definitely replaced STI.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's more accessible. You can take your off-road vehicle or your quote unquote off-road vehicle to work every day, and it's fine. It's not necessarily like driving a race car to work every day, which can be annoying.
Yeah. And not just annoying to you, but annoying to everybody. Like loud, popping, everything.
A mildly lifted suspension is easier to drive than a slammed suspension in almost every circumstance.
I want to stay on this Nissan news. It's crazy that Nissan
has give you one more.
Much news in the past 2 weeks.
It's a little overwhelming.
That I have heard in the past year. Nissan is committed to launching 20 new and updated models by 2027.
I like the word committed.
Yeah,
like it suggests that like it's gonna happen, but like if it doesn't happen, at least they were committed.
Okay, I've got tons of Nissan news actually.
No, this is the last one.
No, I have to get all. I can't.
You can. I have faith in you. Pick.
I don't know what to pick.
That speaks to you, and we'll use that one. How about the one about the sports sedan? How about that one?
Yeah, okay, fine. So, there's a rumor that Infiniti is going to revive the Q50 with a manual gearbox.
Sammy, does anyone out there remember the Q50? If you remember the Q50, please write to us, because it was a vehicle that was totally fine and good, and it was automatic only, I believe. Mm-hmm. And nobody cared.
And nobody bought it. Sold it with this wicked powertrain. They did the wrong thing of removing the what is it? The steering?
I don't know where you're going with
this.
What
did they do with it?
No, it had an electric power steering system.
That's right.
But it was like a steer-by-wire.
The physical connection to the... Man, I couldn't even articulate it properly.
No.
They removed the physical connection between the steering wheel and the steering wheels. And
good job there. Nice save. It was drive-by-wire in the sense that it was steer-by-wire, but they had a mechanical failover system also present. So like if the steering system, like if it crapped out, the mechanical system would instantly take over, which just adds weight and complication. It was a feature no one was asking for, and I think they were really banking on the fact that you could, how like on electric power steering systems, you can dial in how heavy you want it to feel, but it doesn't really do anything. No. They were trying to convince people that they wanted to ultimately configure their steering system to feel however they wanted it to.
But they didn't give you that much granularity in it.
No, I mean, there's zero feedback. It's like all simulated feedback when you have no direct connection.
If they could make it like a video game, like I have one of those gaming steering wheels.
And thank you. I don't want that either.
But I mean, it's just funny that you would be able to like go lock to lock in like one 360 turn or
that's not something you want to give people on the street, is it?
Anyways, there's a rumor that they're planning to revive the Q50 sedan, which hasn't been on sale since 2024. That's news to me. And they're going to bring it with a manual transmission and the twin turbo V6 from the Nissan Coupe. Okay?
So I like the
Z Coupe.
I like the Q50. I think Infiniti is a brand in trouble that has no identity. No one knows what it stands for or why they should buy one. I don't think selling a super limited appeal manual transmission sports sedan is going to help them. As much as I like that segment of the market, I just don't think it's, going to change their fortunes. And that's too bad.
Listen, the official spokesperson on this rumor says Infiniti is executing a 5-year product strategy that will include at least 4 all-new models. the QX65, which we already talked about, a high-performance sports sedan, a mid-size hybrid crossover, and an all-electric SUV.
Okay, given the financial status of Nissan, do you think Infiniti has 5 years?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
We've seen luxury companies like Jaguar just disappear from the market, and they certainly...
Jaguar is paring back their situation and are going to make the weirdest thing you've ever experienced. And they're going to sell weird things.
And
to
Jaguar's
weird people.
CEO said that they expected to lose 85% of their existing ownership.
But they're going to sell a single $5 million car and make it all up.
It's so wild. My point is, if Jaguar can't make it, and they're a company that has much more heritage and huge backing from Tata, right? Mm-hmm. What chance does Infiniti have when they have far fewer years spent on the market, no identity, and a corporate parent that is in dire straits financially? Like it's just not a good situation.
Yeah, the Renault Nissan thing, even Mitsubishi, is Mitsubishi out of that?
No, but I
can't remember.
I think it's Nissan specifically as a brand. I think Nissan is in trouble. So anyway.
Okay, but like, listen, if you could get a high performance sedan, let's see, like, I don't know what the ceiling of a sports sedan made by Infiniti would be price wise. Let's say it's under $100,000 with a manual transmission. You've immediately gathered something that AMG and M do not have, right?
You can buy a Q50 is the same size as an M3. You can get a manual transmission M3. Why would you buy a Q50?
Can you really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I thought that thing was done. I thought it was super limited edition. I thought it was stuck to like the CSLs or something like that.
I don't think so. I think it's
or maybe
still
that's the other way around.
In any case, I just don't see Infiniti competing with M or AMG. I don't think they're in the same conversation.
Well, yeah, without the base product, how do they get to the higher end stuff?
They're just not being cross-shopped. So, in any case,
struggles for them.
We're all struggling, Sammy. Nissan's just struggling at a much more public level.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
No, that does it for me. What are you going to be talking about next week?
As I mentioned, I'm going to bring in the Volvo XC90. I think it's called the B8 plug-in.
Okay.
And yeah.
I'm going to be talking about the Mitsubishi Outlander, the gas-powered one, a vehicle I can't remember the last time I drove. It's been a super long time. So I'm going to have some pretty fresh impressions there.
I can't believe they gave you the non-plug-in hybrid of this car.
It's specifically what I asked for.
It's so unnecessary. Okay. I can't wait to hear from you about this. This is going to be great.
Sammy, if people want to like get in touch with us and tell us their thoughts on you really talking some crap about the about the Outlander.
Head on over to our website, unnamedautomotivepodcast.com. While you're there, you can see all of our previous episodes. You can see pictures of the cars we've been driving, links to the stories we've been writing about, all that kind of stuff. More important than that, and more important than not more important. You can also subscribe to our podcast, which is handy, using buttons at the website. You can also go to our website and fill out a contact form that gets you in touch with us. If you have comments, you have thoughts about what we're saying, you have your own input that you'd like us to hear, and we love hearing it. We really do. I encourage you to go to our website, unnamedautomotivepodcast.com. Fill out that contact form. Let us know what's on your mind. Let us know what you want to talk about. Like if you want us to talk about something, or if you've got some notes, if you have some experience off-roading, if you've been thinking about long-range EV road trips like Ben just went on, whatever's on your mind, hit us up. You can also email us the old-fashioned way. It's benjamin@benjaminhunting.com. Or you can reach out to us on Instagram. Ben is @huntingbenjamin, and I'm @Sami_ha, like you're laughing.
And there's one more thing I want to talk about this week, Sammy. It's been a long time, but I have another comic book coming out.
You're going to talk about the end of the podcast?
Yeah, I totally spaced on it.
The podcast
I just realized that this is going to be, when this goes live, it'll have been announced. So it's called Model UN, and it's about a world where in the 1990s, yes, the 90s again, there's a group of high school students who are, they're in a Model UN club. They're a bunch of misfits. And an alien ship shows up at their high school and mistakes them for the real UN. And no matter what they do, they can't convince the very pig-headed alien leader that he's made a mistake. So it's up to them to basically save the world. It's something different for me. It's kind of a black and white manga style. It's funny. At least I'd like to think so. And I'm going to have a Kickstarter for it that starts October 7th. But you can get in on the action right now. ModelUNcomic.com is the way to go to the preview page for the Kickstarter. And the more people who click notify me when this goes live, the better we're going to do with the Kickstarter algorithm. So that's always helpful to me. If you're interested in comic books, if you're interested in aliens, or you're interested in a weird 90s high school experience like I had, you might enjoy Model UN. So that's modeluncomic.com.
Thank you everyone for listening. We can't wait to hit you up next week with the next episode, man.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.